Yo, what up guys, Magic IQ here. If you guys want to watch the gameplay, stick around to the end, but I decided to change up the format of these build videos to more assist the viewers to get straight into things. So as you guys will already see by our stats, I've changed up a little bit, but I also said last video that I was going to add this in once I had the sockets for it. Now, there's another way on this build you can get a little bit more damage. Me personally, I don't see it as necessary because when I get to bosses, I use my Python and my ability to take out the boss as quickly as possible on all dungeons or any other bossing content within mobbing. I do not use this build for bossing whatsoever. I do not use Bunny for bossing whatsoever. I think, in my personal opinion, it is a waste of time, but if you guys want to refer to my old video for a bossing build, you guys can check that out, link down below in the description or linked in the pinned comment. If you guys really just love this character, then that bossing build does work, but I suggest looking up other bossing builds on YouTube until we can actually change sockets per setting coming in the next update, because as of right now, this is completely socketed for mobbing and is not going to be as useful for bossing, okay? Just a forewarning. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I noticed some complaints about the fact that I was running the 4-piece Supernova set, and I just want to address that really quickly. The reason I was personally running that is because of my rolls. So as you guys can see right here, Kuiper Shard drop rate is extremely high, and for the processor, I was running equipment drop rate 191 for the most possible loot. Now, obviously, this set isn't that great for Bunny as it has a fusion skill power modifier, and I was highly aware of that. But me personally, there's no other 4-piece really to run. I really just run a 2-piece for mobbing. If you guys want to get a little tankier, what I suggest is probably running a regular ultimate processor and auxiliary. I personally went with defense and HP up here, but you can very much so do double HP if that's what you prefer to get around 10k health. And you can also do HP on the processor. Now this will put you at about 8k HP with our current Descendant module setup, as well as you can also spec a little bit more damage into this if you guys prefer. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But for our reactor, as you guys can see, we are running the Thunder Cage reactor still with skill effect range and electric skill power boost ratio. Let's look at the weapons. So now the weapons don't really matter in terms of what I'm running on them, but this is my current Thunder Cage build. If you guys want to copy it, it's nowhere near done yet. These are my rolls as well. Just firearm, electric, rounds per magazine, and firearm critical hit damage because I had a different mounting for toxic. That's why I rolled rounds per magazine on it, and we were using that for a Freyna build theory. So I'm working on that as well. Freyna updates coming soon, especially since next update we will be having different sockets per setting. We will be coming out with a full spec mobbing build for Freyna, so make sure you guys look out for that. Now when it comes to the weapons on the back, you can really just kind of put whatever you want for the third slot, but my personal opinion is you run whatever mounting you have, or if you can get a Python mounting. The reason is because this is very good for when you do eventually get to the end of the missions of the dungeons. You guys can use this to very quickly hit headshots and get weak point damage to take out the bosses. Okay, these are my only 2 guns that are mandatory because this is my mounting, and this is the weapon I switch to when I actually want to shoot bosses in the face. Besides that, every other mob is taken out by high voltage. As you guys will see our Descendant modules here, we have high voltage, which does reduce the number of enemies that throw bomb and lightning emission can strike, increasing range and damage instead. Okay, this is super duper strong, obviously, as you guys have seen from multiple videos, including mine. Okay, we're running a mid-air maneuvering just because I like it for speed running. We're running time distribution. Okay, you can kind of swap this out. The reason I'm running this is for a little bit more HP and to keep our skill up 100% of the time completely. I will show you guys another alternative what you can do here. Another alternative you can do to keep skill up 100% of the time, pretty much it will only be down for 0.7 seconds and get a little bit more damage here, is I would take this off. You guys can go ahead and run focus on singular instead of singular specialist. And if you guys want to respec this socket for Almudine, at this point you guys can also spec this socket for Malachite and spec this for Almudine. And what you're going to be able to do here is fit a little bit more crit on this build. Okay, so hypothetically you'd probably want to go to Almudine and probably, in my personal opinion, throw on emergency measures or front lines. I also run agony in the slot, max MP and defense. So this is the second way I set it up. If I have a mission where I'm sprinting a little bit more in between rooms, this will allow me to keep my max MP up and also keep my sprint going longer, because the longer I'm able to sprint, aka use mana, the longer I have for MP collector to proc and get me my mana back, or pick it up off the floor, which happens very often, and you get a little bit of defense as well. So that's personally up to you. I chose to spec it into health and get the cooldown, so I don't have to worry about my skill being down whatsoever, and it also gives me a little bit more damage. Okay, so that's completely up to you guys what you want to run there. As the build is set up right here, this is how I personally prefer it. We're running multi-talented because what I do is I go ahead and I pop my one skill before I start sprinting. What that's going to do is lower the skill cost for the duration of that skill, as well as increase the duration of the sprint. And while I'm sprinting, once I get to the mobs, I will then wait for the 5 seconds to be over and pop that 3 skill, which is going to activate singular active skill, all attribute damage plus 30%, giving us a little bit more damage for 5 seconds. Now what you can do to finesse this and keep this procced is you can always stop the sprint and start it again, and that's something I actually do pretty often. So if you deactivate the skill and reactivate it, what it's going to do is count as a singular skill proc, and that's going to also give you an extra 30% damage. So when you get to the boss, you guys can finesse the boss like that and get a little bit more damage out of it if you don't want to just shoot him in the face and melt him with a python. If you guys want a link to my python build, it will be down below in the description as well. So speaking of the rest of the modules on this build, as you guys can see, we have skill critical hit rate 115% from skill insight, maximum range for obviously clearing out mobs in other rooms. Even you can literally wall bang with how much range is on this build, and with our current reactor we will have maximum range. Now for our health slot, we're running HP amplification. If you guys don't want to lose any shield, you guys can just run increased HP, but I personally prefer this. You guys can run electric specialist as well. For our Xantic slot, we're running electric specialist for electric skill power. For our Rutile slot, again, we are running skill effect range to maximize that range, skill concentration for the crit damage, singular specialist, and MP collector. Okay guys, now like I said, again, I use this build to solo every single dungeon in the game. It is absolutely amazing and I really enjoy it. I highly suggest you guys go ahead and try it out. Alrighty guys, but that's going to do it for the build video. If you guys would like any other combinations with Bunny, let me know. Next week when we can resocket characters for their different settings, we're going to make a lot more bossing and mobbing builds for some of the characters we've already built on the channel. So look out for a lot more build diversity coming soon. As well as if you guys could, go ahead and follow the second channel, Magic FPS, for more Delta Force Hawk Ops content coming soon. Now that's all there's left to do is just watch some gameplay. So all I'm going to do is put a solo operation here at the end. You guys are more than welcome to watch, or go ahead and go to the comments and let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
여기는 사령부. 레지스터 연구지 재탈한 임무 수행을 시작해 주십시오.